This is the Bass Cemetery. There is some assorted gunfire going on in the distance, which could be hunters, could be the police range. I'm not sure. Now, I'm going to start right here at the entrance. There's actually the dirt road that you come down that I talk about in my tours. But these stones over here are what remains of the only crypt that used to be here. And when I do a cemetery Saturday, I will probably post the picture, or I may paste it in when I post this one, which will be kind of rare for me to do anything other than just live video. Oh, what an interesting mushroom. Okay. So this is the Bass Cemetery. This is considered to be one of the most haunted cemeteries in the area. One of the great haunted cemeteries in all of Alabama. And there is graves out here, starting with Burwell Bass, who was a Revolutionary War soldier. And I believe that is the remains of his crypt, which used to stand up here somewhere. I think it was like right about here. There's a concrete slab the last time I was out, showing where it used to be. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, that used to stand right here. And when I was a kid, the door was gone and the coffins were gone. So, that is one of the earliest of the, oh gosh, really haunted events here. When I talk about how the stones of the Bass Cemetery are just ravaged and damaged, this is what I'm talking about. As you can see, stones are knocked over, they're missing. There are graves that are just marked with plain stones like this, busted there. There's a cairn over here. This would probably be an unmarked grave. Here is a bass stone, but it is so badly damaged that you can't see hardly anything about it. 1851 to 1862. And the pieces of the stone are just laying around, but you don't know exactly where. Probably that would have been roughly in that location. So Carissa, and this is one of the things that just irritates the hell out of me about these old out in the middle of nowhere cemeteries, because people come up here and they destroy them. So we're going to kind of go over here to this side and work our way around. And some of the stones can be pretty monumental, like this one over here. This stone used to be here. Martha Bass and William Bass. And that's not something you can just easily push off of that. I mean, they had to have a truck or something. And it's just so sad to me. Now, I talk about this cemetery and the fact that the WPA did a survey in the 30s, I think, and there were 140 something marked graves, of which almost all of those stones are gone now. There is tracks going through the cemetery going that way, and it looks like the fence is down there, so Lord only knows what's going on about that. I have a pyramid with very eroded carving on it, and there doesn't appear to be a name. Actually, there is, but it is so badly worn, I would need to do a gravestone rubbing to get it. McKinney stone there. Here's where 2 bases, somebody tried to pick up a base fairly recently, which would automatically make the graves that are right there unmarked graves. They are kind of marked now. We're going far in the distance. Here's a fairly recent grave, 2006. This is still an active cemetery. Here is a recent grave, but there's no stone. Edward Norrid passed away in 1977. And obviously his family has brought out flowers, so this might be Mrs. Norrid over here. Go this way. Here's a tremendously worn stone. There's just the rock marking a grave that appears to be right there. This would be a child's grave over here, but there's no marker. It's just where somebody has laid out stuff outlining it. Busted stone. Miss Ogles. Here's a military stone over here. U.S. Army. World War I veteran. Here's one. Bessie Stone, 1899 to 1970. I like this cross that's carved into the stone. There are several unmarked graves through here. This one is in a state of collapse. Jody Cargill, 1960 something. 63. Cook. There's a family name for myself. 1919. May or may not still be with us. And several stones. This one's outlined with concrete little pillars. Mr. James Edward Cook. And Willie Perry, 2014. This is a new stone and a new grave. Crimson Tide. This is like the interesting grave over here. Miss Ryder. Lily Phillips. Sumter grave here. 1912. May or may not still be alive. Also, Phillips, and here's like a new stone that's been pushed over. Just never understood it. Bang, bang. More of these outlines, so, and it's done in the exact same style, so quite likely it's, yep, Sumter, same people. And there's the name. Oh, Doc F. Bryant Jr. I don't know if you can hear the bang bang that's going on in the background. I'm not terribly concerned, but one of those things to watch out for when you go to these backwoods cemeteries. Now see. Mr. Vaughn. I can see it easier on the phone than I can in real life. Knolls. It's an unmarked infant grave. Now the knolls, they have a fairly extensive outlined area here, but the only actual stone is this one. You will note that I am out here during the day, and a nice bright sunny day on a Sunday. Infant 1926. I've got a broken stone here, which has dates but no name, because the name part is broken off. We might be able to. So here's a new stone that's been knocked over. See, vandalism goes on even today. So whoever's buried here is probably on the other side of the stone that's face down now. Eva Patterson, tablet stones. Here is one of the older Victorian jobs that has been knocked off and then just kind of set up. Stones knocked over and set up. Very nicely carved. Miss Ellard. Wonder if she's related to the Ellards of the Ellard Cemetery that I did the live walk through. The Holts are over here. World War II veteran Furman H. Holt. And then, so that's the government issued stone, and then you've got the regular stone over here. Mr. Overton is buried right there. Alma Vandegrift. Here are stones that don't. See, so there's a change. Miss Vandegrift is buried here, but these folks are buried here. Actually, no, they are buried over here because I can see the depression. Miss Joyner. Carved with wife. And then the rest of it. Oh, look. I have screwed up my pants. Oh, Lord. I just bought these pants to replace the ones that I got nailed on another cemetery. A cracked in several places stone that is pretty much unreadable. The Woodsman, one of the variations on the Woodsman of the World stones. These are the Weidmans. I don't know if this is a Weidman or not. It's got the dove. It is not a Weidman. It is a Parker. So is this Woodman? Is this Mr. Weidman? Yes, this is Mr. Weidman too. And then over here, Miss Ella, wife of this guy. Davis. Okay, so Let's go check out some of the stuff on the other side. More white ones. Okay, here's a child stone with the stump showing the life was cut off short, 1912 to 1920. All right, in my Father's house, gates of heaven. This most likely used to be here. And stones that are very badly worn, you can't read them anymore. Jesse, infants. You can read them, just I was on the wrong side. I'm closer to the shooting. I think that may be the police range over there. One over here by itself. An infant child. See mom way over in the distance. We'll head that way. There's a interesting feather. Now this cairn right here does not have a marking, and it's never had a marking. Even when I was a kid I came here and I wondered who might be buried under this. I would expect it would be one of the Basses. Here's where a stone was set up, broken, repaired, and then it's been broken again, and the chunk is missing. Here was a gateway stone that has now been knocked over and then partially set back up, because this used to be on top of those and it stood up to there. Stones just kind of lost in the grass. Obviously this used to have this on top of it. With the carved cloth. I perhaps need to set up a fund. Spanish-American War. Set up a fund to do a Bass Cemetery restoration or something. Mary Bass. My father's house have many mansions. Then Martin, almost definitely Martin Bass. Where's the carved side? And this side is actually, unfortunately, very badly eroded. And then a plain stone that's not busted off, and then another one of these. Apparently Martin is the family name. It was just one of the Bass family married into them. Yeah. The joy of doing these videos live, you know, when I make an incorrect assumption, everybody knows it because I don't edit these like I do the Cemetery Saturday videos. Stone that's broken off, and we'll never know who. There's something carved at the bottom. I can't quite make it out. Get out of the way of the sun. Mr. and Miss Williams. Sorted broken stones this way. A modern stone that's been knocked over. The gateway says no trespassing. There are security cameras, but who the hell is monitoring the security cameras? If anybody. Miss Gore does not have a death date, but there's definitely a grave here. Here are some small stones just kind of buried in the grass. Also Gore's. There's a stone that is unfortunately face down. And that's not something that I'm going to be able to pick up. Here is I think a Confederate soldier. And it's got Alabama on it, so we have dates 1834 to 1881, but no name because it's broken. A pox on people who go into cemeteries and do this to stones. These people should be resting in peace. Look here, every stone except for one is broken or knocked over. Stones buried in the grass. I'm kind of headed over here to see what this is. Like mother. There's a nice stone. Snapped in half. You can still read the names and dates on it though. I think these are possibly more recent graves. Obviously somebody has been out here to put flowers and such. Cheat. Now see, we've got mom, we've got a fairly new grave, but no stone yet. So there may be a stone coming at some point. 2013, 2015. So the cemetery is still well and truly active. kind of headed towards this Woodsman of the World one over here. And then I will get some still pictures, and we will call this one a day. But it's October, so of course I needed to come to the Bass Cemetery. And I will do a Cemetery Saturday for Bass, which may be just a reposting of the horrible thing that I did a little over a year ago, and I look at it now and go, oh my God, that was so cheesy. So this is the Bass Cemetery. Please respect it, come check it out. Please subscribe by clicking the link on the right, and of course check out the other things that we're doing, because you never know what we're going to find when we go poking around one of these old places. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.